This is the story of a man who had almost lost all hope. No money, no future. No one believed his life would ever get better. Most people stay stuck, not because they're lazy. Don't miss the secret that helped Ravi break free. But in just 90 days, one simple secret, 5 a.m., changed everything. Maybe Ravi isn't the only one who's feeling trapped. If you're quietly fighting your own battles, leave a 1 in the comments. By the time this story ends, you might just discover the path that Ravi found. In Pune, one of India's largest industrial hubs, thousands of factories stay lit long after most of the city has fallen asleep. Every night at exactly 8 p.m., Ravi, a 32-year-old security guard, put on his faded uniform and quietly began another shift. By 6 o'clock the next morning, as office workers rushed to start their day, he returned to a rented room no larger than 100 square feet, where an old ceiling fan rattled above his head. For 7 years, Ravi's life had barely changed. Go to work, finish his shift, sleep for a few hours, grab a quick meal, then do it all over again. He had never been late, never missed a shift. Whenever a coworker needed someone to cover for them, Ravi was always the first to volunteer for the extra pay. At the end of every month, the first thing he did after receiving his paycheck was send part of it back to the village where his mother lived. After paying his rent and covering the bare essentials, there was barely enough left to carry him into another month. Every week, his mother called to ask the same question. "Are you doing okay, son?" Ravi always smiled. "I'm doing fine, Mom." But deep down, he knew the hardest part wasn't the long nights. It was the feeling that he was giving everything he had and still had no idea how to build a better life. If you see a part of yourself in Ravi's story, leave a 1 in the comments. Not for us, but as a promise to yourself that you'll stay with him until the very end. A few days later, just as Ravi was getting ready for another night shift, his phone suddenly rang. It was his younger sister. Her voice was shaking so badly that he had to ask her to repeat herself twice. "Ravi, Mom collapsed while working in the fields. The neighbors rushed her to the district hospital." Without hesitation, Ravi caught the first bus back to his village. The entire journey, he kept telling himself the same thing. Maybe she had simply worked too hard. Maybe she would be okay. Maybe it wasn't as serious as he feared. But the moment he walked into her hospital room, he froze. The woman who had raised him on her own now lay silently on an old metal bed. A thin IV ran into her frail arm. Her hair had turned grayer than the last time he came home. The moment she saw her son, she forced a smile. "I'm sorry you had to miss work because of me." Ravi gently took her rough, weathered hand. "Don't say that, Mom. The only thing that matters is that you get better." A few minutes later, the doctor stepped outside and explained that she would need to stay in the hospital for several more days. Quietly, Ravi unlocked his phone and checked his bank account. He stared at the balance, then locked the screen. A few seconds later, he checked it again. The number hadn't changed. After paying the first hospital bill, there was almost nothing left. When he returned to the room, his mother looked at him for a long moment. She didn't ask about the money. She didn't ask about his job. Instead, she spoke softly. "My son, you've struggled long enough. Don't spend your whole life just enduring the way I did. If you still believe there's another path, go find it. Promise me." Ravi lowered his head. For a long moment, he couldn't find the words. He simply held her fragile hand a little tighter. "I promise." As Ravi left the hospital and headed back for another night shift, he still had no idea where to begin. But for the first time in years, he knew he could no longer keep living the same life he had lived yesterday. The next morning, Ravi finished his shift just like he always did. But something had changed. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about getting back to his room as quickly as possible just to fall asleep. His mother's words kept echoing in his mind. If you still believe there's another path, go find it. The bus rolled slowly through Pune's misty morning streets. Tea stalls were filling with customers. Workers streamed toward the industrial district to begin another day. Ravi sat quietly by the window, absent-mindedly watching the people outside. Just then, an elderly man stepped onto the bus. He wore a simple white shirt and a pair of old shoes polished until they looked almost new. In one hand, he carried a well-worn book with folded pages. He chose a seat one row ahead of Ravi. For the entire ride, the man never once reached for his phone. He simply read. Every now and then, he paused to jot a few notes into a small notebook. For some reason, Ravi couldn't take his eyes off him. Maybe because he had never seen anyone look so calm while the rest of the world rushed to begin another day. When the bus stopped at a long red light, Ravi gathered the courage to walk over. "Excuse me, may I ask you something?" The old man closed his book, then smiled. "Of course." Ravi hesitated. "Do you read at this hour every single day?" "Every day." "For more than 20 years?" Ravi smiled. "If I'd just finished a night shift, I'd probably go straight to sleep." The old man glanced at Ravi's security uniform. "You just got off work?" Ravi nodded. "Almost 7 years now." The old man was silent for a few seconds. Then he spoke. "I know exactly how that feels. Because many years ago, I was a night shift security guard, just like you." Ravi froze. For the first time in years, he had met someone who seemed to have once lived the very same life. Some encounters last only a few minutes, yet they change the rest of your life. At this moment, Ravi had no idea what the man was about to give him. But what about you? If you believe the right person can change your life simply by appearing at the right moment, leave a 2 in the comments. Then stay with Ravi to discover why he chose to trust a complete stranger. The old man looked at Ravi for a few seconds before smiling. "Years ago, I believed the same thing you do. If I worked a few more hours, if I pushed myself a little harder, if I stayed patient long enough, life would eventually get better on its own." He slowly shook his head, but the years passed and nothing changed. Ravi listened without saying a word. It was exactly the life he had been living. The old man continued. "One day, I realized I wasn't lacking hard work. What I lacked was time invested in becoming a better version of myself." He pointed toward the people hurrying outside the bus window. Most people spend their best hours solving other people's problems. By the time they get home, they have just enough energy to eat, scroll through their phones, and fall asleep. The next day, they do it all over again. Ravi gave a quiet nod. That had been his life for nearly 7 years. The old man reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn card. On the back, only 2 words were written: 5 a.m. Ravi looked at it and smiled. "But I work nights. How could I possibly wake up at 5 in the morning?" The old man smiled back. That's where almost everyone gets it wrong. 5 a.m. isn't a time, it's a reminder. A reminder that the first 2 hours after you wake up shouldn't belong to the world. They should belong to you. 30 minutes to learn. 30 minutes to strengthen your body. 30 minutes to write, reflect, and prepare your mind. Whether you wake up at 5 in the morning or at 3 in the afternoon after a night shift, the principle never changes. Ravi sat there in silence. For the first time in his life, he had heard someone explain success in a completely different way. It wasn't about working more. It was about becoming more before you started working. The bus pulled into its final stop. The old man stood up. Before leaving, he wrote down his phone number and handed it to Ravi. If you truly want to change your life, don't call me today. Go home. Think carefully. Tomorrow, if you still want to begin, then call me. He stepped off the bus. Some phone calls last only a few minutes. Others divide a person's life into 2 chapters, before the call and after it. If you think Ravi should make that call, leave a 3 in the comments. Then let's find out where one small decision will lead him. Ravi remained seated. In one hand was the card that read 5 a.m. In the other was the old man's phone number. For the first time in many years, it felt as though his future held more than just a single road. That night, before starting another shift, Ravi picked up his phone again and again. He opened the contact, then closed it, over and over. Finally, when his shift ended the following morning, he took a deep breath and pressed call. That morning's phone call didn't end with a promise of success. The old man simply said, 90 days. Don't expect your life to change first. Let yourself change first. Ravi started the very next day. Instead of reaching for his phone during the first hour after waking up, he changed his routine. For the first 30 minutes, he studied English using free lessons online. The next 30 minutes, he learned about manufacturing processes, quality control, and workplace safety. The final 30 minutes, he reviewed what he had learned, wrote notes, and planned one small goal for the next day. Everything felt unfamiliar. Everything felt difficult. Some English words took him more than 20 attempts before he could pronounce them correctly. Some production diagrams were so confusing that he spent an entire evening trying to understand a single page. On many mornings after work, Ravi was so exhausted that he fell asleep at his desk with an open book. The first week passed. Nothing extraordinary happened. Another week went by. Still nothing. He was still a security guard, still earning the same paycheck, still living in the same tiny rented room. One evening during his break, Ravi was reading a guide about quality inspection procedures. A coworker noticed and laughed. Why are you wasting your time studying that stuff? Planning to become the factory manager? A few others laughed along. Ravi quietly closed his notebook. He didn't answer. But for the first time, he seriously questioned himself. That night, he called the old man. I think I'm wasting my time. It's been 3 weeks. Nothing has changed. There was silence. Then the old man asked, do you know how long bamboo spends growing before anyone notices it? Ravi didn't answer. Some seeds spend months doing nothing but growing roots. From the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. But it's the part no one can see that determines how tall the tree will eventually grow. Don't rush to change your life. Be patient enough to grow your roots first. Ravi looked back at his notebook, the messy handwriting, the crossed-out English words, the tiny goals completed one day at a time. Maybe the changes simply weren't visible yet. If you've ever felt like your hard work was leading nowhere, leave a 4 in the comments. From that day on, Ravi stopped counting how far he had come. Instead, every night he asked himself, am I a little better today than I was yesterday? 3 months passed. The first thing that changed wasn't his bank account. It was Ravi himself. He spoke with more confidence. He took better notes. He understood what the machines were doing. One morning, the production supervisor noticed Ravi helping a new employee read an English safety manual. He quietly nodded. Ravi had no idea. The first door to a new life had just begun to open. A few weeks later, the production manager called Ravi into his office. He placed a stack of documents on the desk. "I heard you've been reading technical manuals in English." Ravi looked a little embarrassed. "I'm still learning. I only understand a little." The manager nodded. "That's enough. Go through these documents and organize them for me. If you do a good job, I'll give you more." It wasn't a promotion. It wasn't a raise. It was only a small opportunity. But Ravi treated it as if it were the most important assignment of his life. During the day, he kept studying. At night, he continued working as a security guard. Whenever he came across a technical term he didn't understand, he wrote it down and looked it up after getting home. Some procedures were so complicated, he had to read them again and again. A week later, Ravi returned with the completed documents. The manager spent several minutes reviewing them. Then he smiled. "I never expected a security guard to put this much effort into something like this." A few days later, Ravi was asked to help review safety records. He also helped train new employees. The workload increased, but for the first time in years, Ravi felt trusted. 3 months earlier, no one knew who he was. 3 months later, the first thing that changed wasn't his paycheck. It was the way people spoke about him. He was no longer the security guard at the gate. He had become the man who was always willing to learn and always willing to help. Maybe by now you've realized the same thing Ravi did. Life rarely changes because of one lucky day. It changes because of how you choose to live on the days when nobody is watching. If this moment speaks to you, leave a 5 in the comments. Then stay with Ravi as we reach the final chapter of his story. Suddenly, Ravi remembered something the old man had said on that bus. Don't chase success. Become the kind of person success can't ignore. Only then did Ravi truly understand. The greatest gift of 5 a.m. was never an extra hour in the day. It was becoming a completely different person. That evening, Ravi called the old man again. "I think I finally understand." The old man smiled. "No. Now you're ready to remember. The first 2 hours after you wake up, decide who you become. Don't spend them answering the world's demands. Spend them building yourself first. Open a book before you open social media. Learn 10 new English words. Read one page that teaches you a useful skill. Then leave your chair. Walk, stretch, do push-ups. Wake up your body before you ask it to carry your dreams. Finally, write down one thing you learned and one goal you will finish today. Repeat it tomorrow, then the next day, for 90 days. The old man said softly, "Your life won't change after one morning. It changes after 90 mornings." Ravi looked at the small card again. 5 a.m. It was never about the hour. It was about protecting the future before the world asked for his time. If you're willing to protect your first 2 hours for the next 90 days, leave "I'll do" in the comments. Make that promise to yourself. A few months later, Ravi was still riding the same bus home after every night shift. The city of Pune still woke up the same way. The roadside tea stalls still filled the air with the scent of fresh chai. Factory workers still hurried through the gates to begin another day. Only Ravi was no longer the same man. His phone vibrated. It was his mother. Her voice sounded stronger than it had in months. "How have you been, son?" Ravi looked out the window. He smiled. "For the first time, I feel like I'm finally heading in the right direction." Maybe life doesn't change overnight, but every right decision, repeated day after day, quietly builds a different future. If today is the day you want to begin your own journey, don't make that promise to us. Make it to yourself. And when those 90 days are over, come back to Livi Tales channel. Who knows? The next inspiring story might be your own.